Hola y bienvenidos a DEUCES Wild Motherfuckers!
Take that to the bank, Mr. Eric Byrnes, otherwise known as Joe IT Guy.
Dude, I apologize 15 times over, but I left my charger in LA this past weekend, Thrill. And so I have this little bitty weenie charger, if you could see it right here. And it's plugged into an extension cord that's then plugged into the outlet over here. And the whole thing is that I did the daily hustle this morning. And after doing the daily hustle, I mean, I had the whereabouts to charge up my computer the night before, and it'll run an hour, a couple hours. But I got a lot of shit plugged in this thing, man, right? We got this mic that goes to the Focusrite, that goes to the computer. I mean, this was a lot happening, dude. And it drained. I left it there, unplugged in, and it completely drained the entire fucking computer. So we're back. We're up. We are running. 6:22 is actually the official time we came on.
22. Tommy Luke saying 6:24 our time. So anyway.
8 to 8:24. You're right, Tommy. I was
hey, look, don't worry
a little
about
ahead
it.
of
We're
myself.
up and running. Let's get rolling. So
yeah, so Thrill, let's get right into it as far as the coaching staff decisions that were made with the San Francisco Giants over the weekend. A lot of familiar names and dudes that I kind of had a feeling that you knew were going to be joining.
Yeah, so we had Matt Williams come on board as third base / infield instructor. We had Pat Burrow come on board as hitting instructor, and the guy who was the head dude is now the backup dude, Justin Veal. And one of the assistant guys, Pedro Guerrero, they hung him around. We needed somebody to talk Spanish, I think. So we had that pitching guru. His screen froze up, ladies and gentlemen. We might have to cut out again. But pitching guru is now Brian Price. They signed him, I think, today, or maybe yesterday, whatever it was. He's a Bay Area native, but then on top of that, he coached for Arizona when Melvin was there. So I know Brian from there, and then he was with somebody else. My son Trey told me about it today, and I just forgot who the hell it was. So anyway, I got those people coming on board. I know that Tyro Matsu, Mark Hallberg, who was third base coach, now he's shifting over to first base coach, and Alyssa Nakan are hanging on from the last staff. But I don't know who else might be retained or not. But those are our new additions to the pitching staff. On top of having Bob Melvin as the manager. So for me personally, nope, there he goes. He cut off. But for me personally, we're going to have a little different attitude in the clubhouse. That's for sure. I know Matt Williams is bringing that for sure. Besides Bob, Melvin, he's kind of old school as well. So we'll have a lot of that craziness going on. I don't know. We gotta talk to him about it. You guys can fire it up in the chat room. But I know EB also had a little problem. Evidently, he was in a store that got robbed or something like that, and so we're gonna have to ask him about it when he comes back on. Another thing, let's see what else. While we are doing the San Francisco Giants stuff, they are wanting to make Marco Luciano. They're wanting him to be like the starting shortstop. Me personally, kid's got a lot of talent. Don't get me wrong, but it can be a little shaky here and there. So he needs to definitely work during this off season and in spring training about maybe, kind of getting a little bit more proficient in the field. Let me see. What else we got here? They got free agent positions and stuff. Okay. Let's see. Free agent positions. Let's see what they got. 8 of them. This is what Maria Guardado is telling us. Shohei Otani. Okay, look, the Giants might go after him, whatever, but I don't really think that they'll um, wind up getting him because he's going to kind of have a big price tag. Big price tag. Another one too is Cody Bellinger. Kind of revamped himself this year in Chicago as free agent. That wouldn't be a bad pickup for us because not only does he play a real good center field, but he can play first base as well. So in the Giants' grand scheme of things about moving people around, all that craziness, um, he would fit in well. There's a guy in Korea, Jung Hoo Lee, center fielder. He hit like 318 over there, but he only had 6 homers and 45 RBIs. So for me personally, that sounds like your kind of typical, overseas type of player that a lot of contact, that runs a lot and not a lot of power. Let's see who else. Matt Chapman used to be third baseman for the Oakland A's, and he and Bob Melvin are very familiar with one another. That could be a man to keep track of. He had kind of a down year offensively, but he's 30 years old and he's had his fourth Gold Glove in a row. Hey, big dude, welcome back.
Yeah, let's try this one more time, dude. Did you
You got it. You got it.
Dude, I can't believe your patience, man. I'm really impressed with you tonight.
Why is that?
I just feel like usually by now, like in the old Thrill days, you would have said, Burnsy, go fuck yourself. See ya.
You're seeing a more mellow, mature Thrill now. But no, you had it on, and oh, did you freeze up again? Ah, damn it, he froze up again. So anyway, a more mature, low key type of Thrill. Thrill doesn't flip the switch as much anymore. Used to flip the switch all the time, but not anymore. Go back to what we were talking about. We were talking about Chapman. He's got 4 Gold Gloves, so he'd fit well into, like, I guess you want to say, a defense oriented type of game, because we definitely need to improve defense without a shadow of a doubt. Another guy too, and they're saying this is if probably you don't get Bellinger, is Kevin Kiermaier. Let's see, I guess he was with Tampa Bay. He's a Gold Glover as well, and he can go run them down out there in the outfield. One guy that Burnsy knows him personally, is Harrison Bader with the Cardinals. He also played with the A's, played with somebody else too. But his big problem is he's always hurt. He only played, let's see, he's been hurt so much that his career high in games since 2019 is 103. So we definitely don't want a guy that's going to be hurt all the time. We got enough of them as it is. Let's see who else. Oh, here's one. This is interesting. If you don't get Bellinger as well, is first baseman by the name of Rise Hoskins. He missed the whole 2023 season because he tore his ACL in his left knee. But he's a 30 homer guy, maybe 80 or 90 RBI guy. He's a Sacramento dude, so that might play into it too. But I can tell you one thing: I've watched him before. He's going to have to work on his defense if he's going to come on over yonder. And then this guy, I don't know why she chunked him in there. Isaiah Kiner Falefa from the Yankees, just a utility dude. So I don't know why she chunked him in there. We got enough of them guys that can play multiple positions. So as far as like who the Giants might get, it's going to be up in the air. But the big push is going to be 2 things. We definitely need a hitter, without a shadow of a doubt. We need a guy that's going to smack the ball around, have a bunch of homers. We need a threat. We need an RBI guy. That's for sure. And then on top of that, we need defense. we definitely need to improve in defense. I mean, just not good. Steven probably not going to have Crawford around. Zaidi pretty much told him, you're gone. And, they had a Brandon Crawford day at the end of the season. So he's probably not going to be coming back. So let's see. What else? Who else? Yeah, no fragile guys. I'm with you. Will Soto follow Melvin over? That's another one. I don't know if we're going to be able to afford him. Let's try number 3 there, big doggy.
You know what? This time I turned off the internet and I went straight iPhone. And here we are. I mean, that's the only explanation at this point, because I tried the hardwire internet. I tried the just regular internet that's not hardwired. Strike one, strike two, but who gives a fuck? Here I am. What's up, bro?
Hey, so I was in the middle of your takes and all that sort of stuff. We just talked about, we finished talking about the coaching staff. You got Matt Williams at third base coach / infield instructor. They took Hallberg, who was third base coach, and moved him over to first. You got Ryan Christensen, who came over with Melvin from San Diego being a bench guy. So that pretty much seals Kai Correa's fate, I would imagine. You got Pat Burrell leading, hitting. The guy who was the hitting dude this year, Justin Veal, he got bumped down. He's now the assistant. And then the other assistant, Pedro Guerrero, he got bumped down. He's another hitting coach. They just named Brian Price pitching coach. So Brian Price came over from the Reds, and he was also with Melvin in Arizona when you were there. And so, they named that. Let me see when that was. Yeah, that was today. They named Price pitching coach. And he's another Bay Area dude, too.
That's right. Brian Price went to Cal. I'm not sure if he went there with Melvin, but an awesome dude. One of my favorite people that I've ever met in the game of baseball. He was a manager, if you remember, for the Reds for a while.
Yeah.
And
managed, and then now he's pitching guru to the stars. So
he's always been the pitching guru. And the question was how he was going to do as a manager. He has such a mild demeanor that, and don't get me wrong, I've seen him get pissed off before, but for the most part, he's really chill. And so I think with the right team, he potentially would be a good manager, but really in the long run, I don't want to say, it's what he does best, but it's what he does best. He is an incredible pitching coach. So I don't know where I would have gone different with the staff. I'm just going to go with the guys that I know. Ryan Christensen, one of my favorite teammates I ever had. There's your bench coach.
Yeah.
We just talked about Brian Price. Everybody in Arizona loved Brian Price. All the pitchers loved, whether it was Dan Herron, whether it was Brandon Webb. These guys loved BP. Now, Pat Burrell, what's that? Oh, yeah, Scherzer. You're right. And then Pat Burrell. Here's the interesting thing about Pat, because Pat is, as you probably know, a no-nonsense motherfucker. And when it comes to having this ultimate launch angle guru, 15 different voices in my ear, I could promise you this. I've known Pat since he was 15 years old. He will throw all of that shit out the fucking window and go back to building a swing, focusing on a swing, and teaching a swing the way he feels best. With all that said, look, he's actually a really smart guy too.
Yeah.
So he will take whatever analytics are necessary and do whatever he has to do to make sure these guys are successful. But there will be accountability in that dugout. I promise you that.
Yeah, no. And then another thing too is, Pat and I, I was around when, that we won the series and Pat was on the team. And then not only that too, I've been knowing Pat since he got out of University of Miami. So, Pat and I go way back, and he was doing kind of the same thing that I was doing about, going around seeing some of the minor leaguers. And I would actually call him and say, hey, what do you got on this guy? What do you got on that guy? So Pat and I get along well. And I just think that it's great additions to the staff. Another thing I was telling everybody in the chat room is Alyssa Nakian, Tyra Umatsu, Hallberg, and then the other one that I forgot about is JP Martinez, the assistant pitcher coach. Those 4 have been retained. So that's what I know of from them.
Yeah, that's cool. Whatever. You guys want to hang around? Hang around.
We're going to switch gears a little bit because I even said it while you on one of your breaks there. Give me the lowdown on Eric Byrnes and the Biscuit Man having robbed, being in a store while a store was getting robbed. What's going on there?
Oh shit, dude. So
I had people texting me like crazy. I'm like, I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, we were at the All-State games in Houston, and that's the last time I talked to you after you did the interview with FP. And so I had my iPad filming the game. I wasn't coaching. I had my iPad filming the game, trying to get the best shots, whatever. Well, the pitcher for the North Texas team unleashes one. The catcher misses it, and it smacks the iPad, and it has one of those soft fences.
Boom!
Shatters it in 9,000 fucking pieces. So here I am trying to like the remnants of this. We fly back to San Francisco. I think it was that night. We did. And then the next morning, I went right to the Apple store in Palo Alto. So we're in the Apple store. I'm in the back. I'm talking to the guy. We're trying to figure out the best course of action. I'm sitting by the ivy wall. And the out of the corner of my eye, I see 4 dudes like run in. And as soon as you see movement like that, you're like, whoa, right? Because no one's really running into an Apple store other than me, I guess, when I'm trying to get my jog in or something. But they run into the Apple store and start ransacking the fucking place. They're not saying anything. It's just like they got wire cutters that they're cutting all the devices off of the thing, and they have sacks with them. It's just so they were in there for a couple minutes, and immediately my thought was, I mean, you see masked men come into a building. My thought was, we got to get the fuck out of here. So I grab Biscuit. We go to the back. There's like it almost looks like a safety type room, but it's like the lounge where the employees hang out. And I'm like, dude, go in there, bro. And then I thought, I don't know why, but I left my phones and all my shit out there. And I'm like, if these guys are going to grab everything, I want my shit back. So I went back out to grab it. I grabbed it. And as I was out there, I just kind of hung out and watched. I turned around and Biscuit didn't go in that room. He was just standing there with me. I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. And we just, again, like just bam, they clean the place out. They hop into some shit box, little fucking gray car out in front of the Apple store. It's like a Mazda Miata or something.
The getaway vehicle. The getaway Mazda.
That was the coolest. The coolest part was watching them freaking rip on out of there. It really was.
Yeah, no, I get it. Hey, another thing too, we were talking. We mentioned this. Well, I'm glad you didn't get hurt. That's first off. I'm glad you didn't have nothing pointed at you, all that craziness. So that's a good thing. We were talking about some of those new awards too. I mean, they got Gunnar Henderson won Rookie of the Year over there in AL. Corbin Carroll, which we kind of knew. I mean,
yeah,
he won the NL Rookie of the Year. And then you had, let's see, Brandon Hyde,
Manager of the Year.
Manager of the Year over there in Baltimore. They did a big time turnaround right there. And then Skip Schumacher won the NL. Who's Schumacher manage?
He's got Marlins. First or second year managing the Marlins. They did a really good job, won a bunch of games. You probably knew him maybe his St. Louis days.
Yeah, I knew him from St. Louis. But yeah, so then we got let's see, tomorrow Wednesday are the 2 Cy Young Award winners, and then Thursday are the 2 MVP awards. So everything's kind of falling into place. We got other stuff to talk about.
So Thrill, I think most importantly, and I thought about tonight in our show and everything else. We got the awards coming out, but a lot of it is like it's a postseason where who gives a fuck. So in my mind, I don't think who gives a fuck. We recognize it. Good job, Skip and Brandon Hyde. I have these 3 things here, dude, and let's start with the 1990 Bowman set. We have the 1989 Donruss set.
All right.
And we have the 1987 Topps baseball set. So I was at my mom's house the other day, and I got a question for you. I was going over all of my cards. And, dude, I have a whole collection of thrill cards, like just thrill cards. But as far as like one great thrill card, I don't know if I have that one. Like the Billy Ripken fuckface card. That's the GOAT for me. That's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Is there a favorite card that you have of yourself?
Not really. You and I kind of talked about this before, but I was in kind of the heyday of the baseball card industry, and so they were putting out so many different sets, and they had pirate cards and this and that, and they had so many different things that I really didn't. I guess you want to say see them all up until I started doing, a lot of my fan mail and all that. That's when I saw it. If I had to pick one out, Major League Baseball did one. I know for a fact they did it one year. They might have done it a few years, but they had some guys take pictures with their pets. And I had a black lab that was a freaking monster. His name was Psycho, and I remember taking the picture out in front of my condo there in New Orleans when I was a young player, and that'd probably be my favorite one because Psycho and I had a lot of fun together.
I love that. So before we start ripping into a couple of these packs, a little reminder here: Bet Online. It's your top spot for all your NBA action this season with NFL, college football, and NHL in full swing. Bet Online is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. Get everything NBA at your fingertips with the desktop and mobile access for every sport anytime. Head to Bet Online today to get in on all the action. Don't forget to use promo code BLEAV, capital BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. So,
ladies and gentlemen, our host to the stars has just pimped himself out for you. There you go.
We're not done because here's some dad water. Have yourself a Gary, which I had earlier. That's the jalapeno pineapple one. Now I'm having this Steve.
You had the jalapeno pineapple last week. What's this one?
This is the Steve. This is the grapefruit. I haven't had it yet. I'm opening it right now.
Yeah,
dude.
Do the Steve. Do the Steve.
Honestly, bro, like back in the day, and I don't know how you feel, but I would probably give way too many shits about all this tech just being fucked up right now. It's really frustrating that my internet just shit out like that. And I don't know if it was because the computer wasn't properly charged or what. I'll figure it out later. But you know what I did as I was sitting there and I'm like, dude, I'm leaving Thrill hanging this and that. And it's kind of obviously not thrilled, pun intended, with the situation. I opened a fucking Gary, man. And I said, I'm just going to have a Gary. And I just took the Gary down and life's okay.
So there you go. Let's try a Steve. Let's see what you see about the Steve.
Subtle hint of grapefruit, and that's it. Like subtle.
There we go.
So it is tequila. I mean, this is what this is. It's fantastic. So you're playing for the tie. You got the alcohol, you got the water. It's just a beautiful blend.
Beautiful
all right,
blend, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and by the way, I'm just letting you know that I am drinking very cold H2O because on Thursday I'm going up to the ranch and I'll be there for 10 days and there will be major Jack Daniels down the old Thrills gullet there. So he's trying to wash out the impurities before he sticks some more crap back in there.
Dude, you're not going to believe this shit, man.
What you got?
I'm not fucking with you.
What?
I don't know what this is, but I just opened it. This is a 1990 Bowman baseball bubble gum pack. Ready? The first card
Dun, 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 dun.
I open.
Look at that one, huh? Ladies and gentlemen, where have we seen that guy before?
Dude, this is one of my favorites. I've never seen this card before.
Yeah, so Bowman was another one of those companies from the 80s and 90s, and they did a few sets of this, a few sets of that, and then all of a sudden, poof, they disappeared. I don't know what happened to the Bowman company.
But holy shit, man, like this is a portrait. Like some guy's autograph is signed on there and it's not you. It's an artist that is responsible for this.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Do you remember who drew this?
No, I have no clue. It all had to do with the baseball card company. So they'd take a picture of you and then some artist would draw it and then they'd stick it in a set. So I've had several like drawings like that. One of them had a big old head and a little bitty body, and there's all kinds of stuff like that. But I mean, I'm not kidding you, EB. I mean, we're talking about it, like it's yesterday. But I legitimately have over 1,000 baseball cards, easy 1,000 baseball cards. I see so many of them. It's like unbelievable.
What was your favorite San Francisco Giants uniform?
I liked our home unis because they had the white, and it had your name on the back. And when the Giants went to the cream and they didn't put the name back there, I'm like, come on. And that was one of the things that we had to do. Roger Craig instructed us, you had to wear your batting practice jersey out there because he wanted everybody, especially when you went on the road, he wanted everybody to know who the hell was playing against their team. And so we always had to have our batting practice jerseys on, and for the game we'd have our regulars on. But I mean, good Lord, if I could tell you what we put on up underneath those jerseys. I mean, there was sometimes at the stick I'd have 3 turtlenecks on and then my jersey on top of it, and 6 packs of hand warmers in my butt. So I mean, it was a little bit on the chilly side back then.
Dude, you guys would also put on those pullovers with no ventilation.
Yeah.
That's the one that kept you warm, the windbreaker.
Yeah, no, and Boogie Bear did that one all the time. Boogie Bear, Kevin Mitchell, he was into the it was that same material that the wrestlers would wear, when they were trying to lose weight. It was that plastic shit like that. And the Boogie Bear would just sweat like crazy. And I was giggling and laughing the whole time.
Dude, what size was this fucking glove, man?
It's regular size.
What is it, like, what, 13 inches? That's the max, right? For any glove?
You know what? I don't know. Hang on one second. Hang on. I'll grab one for you.
As we're waiting here, has anybody ever heard of Tim Leana? Anybody? Open the chat. I have not. He's throwing a fucking knuckleball, though.
People don't get a chance to see this too much, but I don't know if you can see that right there. Rollins, first baseman's mitts. And inside we have gloves. All right, there's a Rollins that has the holes in it. This is the one I was telling you about, that when you held it up in front of your face, you could like see through it so the sun would go through it. So this was kind of the glove that they started with. but then they put the whole shellacking back there. So this is kind of what it looks like now. Completely, sealed up, and then that way when I shaded my eyes, I could do whatever I wanted to.
So those are broken in. Are those your gloves?
Yep. Yep.
How many did you use?
Will Clark. I had 2 a year. So I mean, I was with the Giants for 9 years, so it's 18 gloves. Here's one you don't see too much. Easton. Okay. And I was under contract with Easton for 5 years, and I had them exactly duplicate the Rollins glove. I mean, it's exactly the same.
So Rawlings and Easton now are the same company.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, and Evo Shield too.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Easton's a sponsor of LTP.
Yeah, somebody just came on a chat room and said that evidently Topps bought Bowman, so that kind of makes sense. And then guess what else too? Because I found this out because I just signed a contract with Topps to sign autographs for him and all that. But Topps got bought by Fanatics, so Fanatics owns Topps now.
Yeah, it was for sale like just recently. It wasn't that expensive either. I got a couple guys right here that I just want to throw out there. I mean, just from this random Bowman set. Milt Thompson. Milt Thompson.
Oh my God, Milt. Our man Milt. He was kind of the same type of player, but just stepped down from Willie McGee. Milt Thompson and Willie McGee were kind of the same type of dudes. Milt Thompson, in that picture, played for St. Louis, but he also played for Philly too as well.
I have a question for you. I don't have his card in front of me, but I saw a thing on him the other day when he apparently was arguing with the umpire about something. And Rick Dempsey then got in his face, and then they went at it. Lenny Dykstra, what do you have on that guy?
Lenny Dykstra. Let's see. How can I put this and not get carried away?
No, let's get carried away. Okay. I mean, he's a fucking absolute raging psycho. There's no other way to put it. Like, if you could, let's start there.
Yeah, if you could put something in your body, Lenny put it in his body. That we'll just leave it at that one.
All right? Okay, well, he'll tell you that one, yeah.
Yeah, and you and I talked about it. I'm not a chewer or dipper or anything like that. I did bubble gum, sunflower seeds, but Lenny always had a big wad in there, and he'd come on first, and who knows how many milligrams he was on. He's like, he's trying to talk to me and go thrill and all that, and he's spitting all over me. I got black just all over my jersey. I'm like, God damn it, Lenny, quit spitting on me, So, and then I told you, he played for the Mets first, and the Mets AA team was in Jackson, Mississippi. We'd scrimmage them every year. The Mississippi State would, and so I got to know Lenny and Gooden and Strawberry and all those guys in AA when I was still in college. And then needless to say, I played against him. It was a mess. So
he was a hell of a competitor, though, wasn't
he? Oh yeah. Lenny was a good competitor, and he was a great leadoff hitter. I mean, little small guy would take the walks. He had some juice. Well, yeah, I had juice because he juiced, but he could hit the ball out the ballpark. But he was a great leadoff dude. And then he got complimented by the guy that you had on the video a few weeks ago, which was Wally Backman. So those guys set up like Kevin McReynolds and Strawberry and guys like that who drove in all the runs.
That Wally Backman video, I'm still going to post that. That is, I just showed it to you.
It was awesome.
A couple weeks ago.
And that right there is Wally Backman. I mean, when he got the first, he was like, "Hey, Thrill, good to see you, man," and all that. But then he'd go off on somebody and just MF them, MF this and then, and I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So,
yeah. So Lenny's favorite line was during that Mets documentary where he said something along the lines of it. I can't quote him directly, but we were going to roll into your city and we were going to kick your ass on the baseball field. We were going to drink all of your alcohol in your town, and then we're going to fuck all of your women. Like, it was so over the top.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me with them. So
no, I saw it. So I saw something like just recently. He didn't look all that great. I have a soft spot for ball players, though. I'm sure you probably do too, right?
Yeah, no,
you know, like we have to have empathy for him and here to support him. So Lenny, like, you need a place to stay. Go to Thrill's house, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, middle of the stick somewhere.
I got a freaking garage I can stick him in. Don't worry.
Oh, so here's the next guy right here. This is actually a good one. This is someone that I don't know why, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but this guy just seems like the ultimate veteran. And I met his kid later on. His kid played too. But this guy was a legend. I feel like he had a great career. I have to go back and look at the numbers. Lance Parrish.
Oh, my. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not only did he play for Angels, played for Tigers. I want to say he played for the Phillies too. But big dude. I mean, put together well. Catcher. Did a good job behind the plate. Not the greatest thrower in the world, but, you know, a good major league veteran. I mean, shoot, he spent a lot of years in major leagues.
That mustache too. It just, when you got a raccoon perched on your upper lip like that, it screams dignity, respect,
dignity, ladies and gentlemen. He went there.
Okay, here's another guy. He was in the Bay Area when, maybe you were there. I got to imagine you were. You were. I played against him later in the Dominican, and I actually either I edged him out by one or he tied me on the last day. There was some drama with it. But this guy was a fucking Dominican legend, and I feel like played until he was about 50. For all I know, he's still playing. Felix Jose.
Oh, my God. Felix Jose. He, believe it or not, I mean, he played for the A's, and then I think he went to the Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken, and played a little bit over there. But interesting character. You know, he get to first base, and he wasn't the smartest tool in the shed, shall we say. Didn't talk great English, and there was a lot of mumbling going on. So, yep, old Felix.
Somebody else that we've talked about before on this show, I'll let you rehash, I don't know, maybe one little story or something about him. It's this look right here. Like when I think about this guy, this is exactly what I think about when you look at his face. Big Daddy Rick Russell.
Big Daddy, my buddy. Oh my God. He the Big Daddy was quite a character. I mean, you know, he was a great pitcher. He did not want you on the mound. And so Roger Craig would, you know, hey, you know, if Big Daddy was getting bopped around a little bit, you know, hey, go out there and talk to him. And I'd call timeout and I'd start walking, and he'd be on the mound and he'd like look at me and say, get the fuck out of here. And I'd just turn around and go off. And Roger's like, well, you can go talk to him. I said, he told me to get the shit out of there. I ain't going. You go talk to him. And yeah, so that was Big Daddy. When Big Daddy was on the mound, you did not go on his mound. It was only pitching coach or the manager coming out there. Fielded his position unbelievably. You could not bunt on that man right there. Another thing too, great athlete. We talked about how fast he was, even for a big fella. He could hit and helped his cause out quite a few times with the bat. And he worked extremely quick. He and Tom Browning, we were in Cincinnati on a getaway day, and both of them were chunking and firing it. And we were an hour and 5 minutes, and we had just gotten into the seventh inning. So it was amazing.
Dude, when I look at Big Daddy Rick Russell, I mean, you're trying to tell me this guy's an athlete. And I do remember him making plays
Yeah.
like fielding his position well. That I do remember. And I also remember he did fucking hit, man.
Oh yeah, he did hit. We had a pitching staff back then that could swing the lumber a little bit. I mean, I remember, Big Daddy could hit. Don Robinson, like he hit all kinds of
The
homers.
caveman.
Yeah, and he caveman. He led the NL in like homers a few years for a pitcher. We had Greg Minton, our reliever. He came in an 18 inning game against the Dodgers and got a base hit to like win the game in the 18th inning. So I mean, we had guys that could play a little bit. But yeah, the Big Daddy. The Big Daddy's one of my favorites.
Little side question for you right here, because you just mentioned the 18 inning game. I played in an 18 giving game myself in San Diego. It was 06, 07. But, now obviously they have the pitch clock. They have the extra inning rules, at least during the regular season, where they're throwing the guy at second base and all that. I was talking to my kids today, and we just got back from a tournament in Southern California, West Covina. Thrill that it was a 35-team perfect game. It was a California State Championship tournament, and we actually took it down, man. We won 4 games on Sunday.
Look at you guys go.
It was
the Biscuit Man put another feather in his cap.
Yeah, this was a total team effort. It was. I'm really proud of the boys. There was a kid that Thrill in Vegas a few weeks ago. He dropped a ball, and it was rough to say the least. And this was like in the quarterfinal game. And so he was struggling with balls in warmups too. And this is in the outfield. So I didn't put him in there. He didn't play any during the semifinal game. I think he played like 1 inning during the final game. And it was tough. And so the kid reached out. He's like, he goes, what could I do to get better? And I go, Diesel, listen, man. I said, you're a great athlete. Fantastic. Your jumps are good. You just get to the spot where you think the ball's going to be, and then you drift back. I said, so you're putting yourself in a really difficult position. I'm like, you have to come around it and work back towards a baseball. And so he starts sending me videos of him in his front yard doing it. Long story short, go to the quarterfinal game in West Covina. 2 guys on. Dude hits a gapper. If this falls, the game's over. We lose. We're going home. Sure as shit, here comes Diesel. He's this big, too. I mean, tiny little guy. Into the gap.
Tiny little guy called Diesel.
Oh, it's so great. Dude, he makes the catch. I ripped. Look at my skin. I was so nervous for him. I went like this on my arm. My whole arm was bleeding. After he catches the ball, I had tears running down my fucking face. I was so proud of him, not just because he made the catch and we won the game and everything else, whatever. It was the fact that all I could think about was Vegas, the ball he dropped, and then here he was wanting to work, wanting to get better, and asking me, what can I do? And I'm instructing him. He lives in Fresno. I'm instructing him from Lake Tahoe, and we're going back and forth. And that was the tournament, dude. That was it. We went on. We won the semifinal game 11-0, championship game 8-0. The tournament ended right there with that one play. And it's just the resilience of that. I mean, really just, it melted my heart, man.
No, that's cool.
It did.
That's cool. That's a great story right there.
So it was funny because I wasn't going to tell that story. I was actually going to.
I'm glad you did, because that right there.
Go on a side note about something else.
Shows not only him, but it shows a lot of his teammates, and it shows other people that, hey, look, you put the work in, and you're like real conscientious about what you're trying to do here. Guess what? You can get better, make a game-winning play like that. Whatever it might be, and that's the beauty of baseball. It's awesome. It's awesome. You
got to put the work in. It's what you and I talk about all the time. And look, of the whole let them play thing, it's great. It's really, really cool. And we're super positive and we're getting after it and everything else. But let me tell you something. None of this works unless we're willing to work. So we're not nearly as good as what we are unless we are grinding and doing everything we have to do, because all the kids They're from all over. So we have 4 Southern California kids. We have 4 Central Valley kids. We have 3 kids in Northern California. Dude, we got down to UCLA, Thrill. John Savage, UCLA head coach, had us out to a practice at UCLA, let us use the field. It was awesome. But we spent 2 hours going over all the shit that helps you win games. Base running, situational defense, cutoffs and relays. Did all of that, like just mundane stuff. Here we are at UCLA on this half field before we step foot in that cage. And that's what it takes, is the work and the attention to detail that makes a team great. And I'm just proud of the boys this past weekend because that was it. They just stayed committed on the attention to detail, and it was one foot in front of the other. And I mean, 35 fucking teams, dude. That's a lot of teams.
There you go. Hey, so Tommy Luke's in the chat room, and Josh, my buddy Josh, they all know, and they sent me the picture of me with the dog on the baseball card.
Oh yeah, look at that mustache, bro.
Hey, I'm rocking the porn stash. Once again, I lost a bet to somebody. I don't know who it was, but lost a bet.
Question for you.
Fire away.
So your porn name is supposed to be your middle name in the street you grew up on. So my porn name would be James Skyline.
All right.
What would your porn name be?
Nushler Virgilian. There you go, right there, baby. Woo!
Mic drop. That is the greatest porn name I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, that's hysterical, man. That's hysterical. But anyway.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
All right.
My porn name.
So I got another one here. I imagine you had all kinds of history with this guy.
Yeah.
Just being a lefty.
Okay.
Hold tight.
That was with Frazier.
Bruce Hurst.
Oh my God. All right. Here's a Bruce Hurst story for you. All right. I think I've told you this. I know for a fact I've told you, but it probably wasn't this year, probably last year. Bruce Hurst is the only person in my 15-year major league career that went fastball in, strike 1, fastball in, strike 2, fastball in, strike 3. Nobody threw me 3 straight fastballs for strikes. It was always fastball, break ball, or fastball, changeup, or something like that. Nobody ever threw 3 straight fastballs. And he freaking and Bruce didn't throw hard. He threw probably 87, maybe right up in there. And he vapor locked me in San Diego, and I was out number 3. And so I was walking down to first base, and he's coming off the mound. And I said, fuck, Bruce. I said, that was freaking awesome. And he walked by me and just had this big smile on his face, and he just took it into the dugout. And I will never forget that. And the reason I won't forget it is because I looked fastball in on him every freaking time after that.
Did he ever come back in with like that? You remember the next time you faced him, or
I don't remember. Put it this way: he didn't do it 3 times in a row. I promise you that. But here's one for you. This says Heroes of Baseball. Remember I told you there's like pirate cards out there and all that. Here's one I got in the email. It's called Heroes of Baseball, and you can see that there's no logo on the helmet, and there's no logo on the jersey and all that. So this is what I'm talking about, like pirate cards, how they all came out, and tried to get some cash out the deal without paying Major League Baseball their royalty. So
I really want you to know who this guy is, because this is one of the most fantastic cards I've ever seen. He played for the Minnesota Twins, but on the back of his baseball cards it says Derek made his professional baseball debut at Elizabethton in 1986. He played at Orlando in 1989. So I'm kind of having a feeling this guy never sniffed the big leagues. Now, the irony of this is that he's from West Covina, California. Ladies and gentlemen, the double ear flapped Derek Parks.
I have no idea who that is.
Look at him though, dude. I mean, that looks like the catcher on your Little League team, though, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Why he's double ear flapping? I mean, it doesn't say he's a switch hitter on there, does it?
No, but look at the double ear flap. No, like breathing room for the fucking ears. It's like straight.
Oh my God, you're hysterical.
What kind of helmet is that? What the fuck, man?
I don't know.
Here's a guy you might know.
All right, hey,
Mike Heath.
Wait. So now Josh Thoreau comes on there and says, instead of doing your porn name, instead of doing your middle name and your street name, he said it's your first pet and a street name. So let's do that one. So if it's your first pet and a street name, what would it be? I'm going back to the same bullshit that I had before, because my first dog was Shotzi. So it's Shotzi Virgilian. So we go from Nuschler Virgilian to Shotzi Virgilian. And so, like Linda's saying, I'm like all over German porn right now.
Yeah. So the first street I grew up on is just up for, it's kind of up for debate, because I was born, my parents were living on Eaton Avenue in San Carlos. So it would be, James Eaton, but I guess that's pretty good. James Eaton, like that. And the funny thing is later on, I figured out that I grew up on the corner of Eaton and Colton Avenue. But I had no idea when I named my kid Colton that I grew up on Eaton and Colton. So Skyline was the next one, along with Old La Honda. It just doesn't really work. But my first pet name, and this would work very well within the pornography industry, was Alfie.
Alfie. Oh, look at you go. What's your porn name, James Alfie?
James Alfie. I mean, it would be Alfie Eaton.
There you go.
All right, here's one that I think, Mike Heath. You got anything on Mike Heath?
Mike Heath.
Catcher, Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, he was a catcher for the Tigers for a little while, and don't really know too much about him. That was the same time I was in the NL, so didn't really know Mike well.
Okay, here's one for you. It might be the same sort of scenario, but a guy that you've definitely heard of, Rick Aguilera.
Oh my God, yes. Rick Aguilera. He accounted for my one and only 3-run homer in the All-Star game. Old Rick Aguilera came in there with the old Minnesota Twins and chunked one on in there and whacked him out of left field over there in San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Jack Murphy Stadium, which is no longer there.
And that was a freaking hitter's paradise. When you went to San Diego, they had the grass cut about this short because Tony Gwynn, wanted, 8,000 million hits. So they had the grass cut short, the ball carried there, and they had not that great of a pitching staff. So it made for a lot of fun going into San Diego and hitting. Speaking of Tony Gwynn, while we're talking about it, Trey just had a deal today where he showed me Tony Gwynn's batting average against Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz. And it was like literally something stupid, like 389 against one, 417 against another, and 4-something against another. And out of all the at-bats he had against Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox, he struck out 3 times. It was amazing. I was like, oh my God.
The San Diego thing, by the way, and if you think about Jack Murphy Stadium, because it's a little bit different at Petco. Petco's closer to the water, but Jack Murphy Stadium is pretty far inland off of the 8.
Yeah.
And so when you go inland like that, you get that hot air and you're not getting the moisture that comes off. So I played in Jack Murphy Stadium one time. I sat there and watched 3 fucking games. I'd never gotten the game. Like, I'm not in defense, not in offense. I just remember watching, I think it was Tony Gwynn, and Ricky Henderson was playing. And it was their last year, 2001. So maybe Tony was done. But Ricky definitely was there. And I think Tony was there too.
Ricky, our man, Ricky, third person, Ricky.
All right, so here's a guy. I mean, the first two I just pulled out of this pack. This is 1989 Donruss, and I know you have stories about this guy. I was on Family Feud with him. I really, really enjoyed my time with this guy. Really enjoyed my time. I still like, dude, this guy's got my heart, man. Just an awesome, awesome person. That said, I know you guys were competitors on the field. Vince Coleman.
Our man Vince. Not only was he a competitor, he's a great leadoff hitter, great stolen base, athlete. He was on the show with you. He actually, believe it or not, he came and became the Giants base running instructor in the minor leagues for about 3 or 4 years. So
really,
I know Vince fairly well. Vince is the guy, and I can flat out come out and tell you now, Vince is the guy that stole the bases the day before we got in that big brawl in St. Louis, because we got in a brawl in St. Louis because of Vince Coleman. So there you go.
Well, Vince had to get his, man. He was trying to get paid.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, we, I don't know why it keeps going back to this porn stuff, but I mean, everybody's chunking their names in the chat room, and it's hysterical. But yeah, Linda even brought it up just now. You did look like a porn star when you were on Family Feud. The red jacket and
Thank you, Linda.
The glittery shit. Oh yeah, you look like Dirk Diggler, straight out of the movie, straight out.
That's the look I was going for, so I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't have my chat. I don't have my chat open because I'm doing this off my phone, dude.
Hey, but don't worry. We can tell Tara now. I know what she fell for right there.
Well, here's another guy with a porn stash that doesn't get enough credit, and I don't even think this guy gets enough credit, because when you talk to the younger generation now, like Biscuit and the boys, right, like 12 years old, they've heard of the legends, and they've heard of the Kenny Griffey Juniors. They talk about Ichiro a lot. And there's a few other guys, obviously Barry Bonds. They all know you because of our relationship. And I'm just kind of going off what our 12-year-olds are paying attention to. I think if I brought up this guy to them, they might not even know who the fuck he is. And that's a problem. Wade Boggs.
Oh, God. You got to be kidding me. They wouldn't know who that man is?
You have to understand, like, dude, they're 12. They were born in 2011. So Wade Boggs was well done. They don't respect the beer drinking legend that apparently this guy was. And he was one of the fucking best hitters the game's ever seen.
Yeah, by far. But, he put some beer down. And one of the reasons why, because he hated to fly. So he had to get half in the box, in order to get on the plane. And but then, there are the stories, and some of the guys that played with him verified it. He was just an absolute, a case of beer on a plane flight type of guy. I mean, that's incredible. And then, he went on, what is it? I don't know, Barbara Walters or whatever, and said, he's a sex nymphomaniac or whatever the hell he was. I don't know. Oh yeah, he did all of that stuff and came out in Playboy and Penthouse and all of that craziness back in the day. So
really,
but that man could hit a baseball. Here's another thing that nobody really knows about Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs was not a little guy. He was 6'3", probably right up in there. And if you wanted him to, and you always had to pay him, but if you paid him, he would put on one of the best home run displays you ever saw. But he was just all about the hits and the batting average. So that's why he inside out everything over there in Boston, hit it off the wall. But I'm telling you right now, if you went up there, and you got to be good friends with him and shit like that, he'd hit, 8 out of 10, like well over the fence out there in right field in Boston, which was pretty damn good ways.
Ichiro would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Nobody had any idea he could do it.
Yeah.
So Ichiro the other day, Thrill, this like is something that I could see you doing. He was taking batting practice. He's 50 years old. He was taking batting practice with a Japanese high school baseball team. And I don't know exactly where they were, but he hit a ball and shattered a window 426 feet away.
Ichiro?
Ichiro, just the other day.
Yeah. Well, you told me, you told me that that Ichiro used to put on a display in BP every now and then. I didn't
Display.
know it. I mean, I didn't know it, but if I trust what you say, and so if you said that, yeah, he'd be able to go deep.
Okay, so I looked this up here. Baseball legend Wade Boggs confirms he drank 73 beers on one flight. When it comes to all-time great baseball players for the Boston Red Sox, Wade Boggs is right up there with them. The former All-Star third baseman is a 12-time All-Star. Wow. A first-ballot Hall of Famer, and he's received just about every accolade you possibly can in MLB. And, of course, he had one of the most recognizable looks in all of baseball with his iconic dirty stash. However, little did I know, Boggs was more than a champion of baseball. He's a champion of beer drinking, too. Rumors have whirled around for years that Boggs once drank more than 60 beers while on a single flight. When I heard the rumor, my first thought was, all right, there's absolutely no way. I mean, come on, yada, yada, yada. Well, Boggs sat down for an interview with Outkicks Guns, is the name of this. It's Outkicks, where he indeed confirmed the event actually happened. And to make it more impressive, he said it was 73. This is a quote from Boggs, Thrill. He said, it was on one of those flights from Boston to LA and playing blackjack on the plane with a bunch of guys and just started. And actually didn't know one of the guys was counting. And he says, Boggsy, you realize you're about at 45 right now. And I think we had another hour to go on the flight. And I said, oh, wow, really? Okay. So we ended up with 73 for the flight. And then when we went out and had a good time in California, it went to 107. Holy shit.
Oh, my God.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
So that one day, and then the next day, Mark Langston was pitching, and he went 2 for 3 with 2 doubles off of him. I mean, you can't make this shit up.
No. As a matter of fact, Luker even came on here and said he did 73 beers on one flight. You just confirmed it all again. There you go.
Well, fuck that. I don't care about the 73 beers on one flight. We've known that story. What I didn't know is that it went to 107 because they got to California and they went out to the strippy or the club or wherever they were freaking rocking and rolling.
Oh, my God. That's hysterical. That's hysterical. And on top of that, there's other superstitions he had. I know he ate chicken all the time.
Yeah.
Another one too that I know for a fact is, if he got on a roll hitting, he had the same socks, stuff like that. So yeah, he was one of those superstitious dudes.
Throw a couple more here and I'll let you go. And I got my daughter downstairs. We got to go pick up some pizza. She's 14. I'm going to let her drive.
Nice.
What do you think about that? Right? That's about the age you do it.
I started driving when I was 12.
Yeah, me too.
So, it was, good to go. No problem.
Another Hall of Famer.
Oh,
Barry Larkin.
Barry Larkin and my roommate on the Olympic team, 1984 Olympic team. Great dude. Love him to death. Hall of Famer. Rightfully so. I know he does some broadcasting. I know he was doing some stuff in the front office. I don't know exactly all the rest of the stuff, but great dude. Jesus, was he a great dude. Played for the University of Michigan. And believe it or not, we actually beat the University of Michigan with Barry Larkin to go to the College World Series in 1985. So Barry and I got a lot of history together. I love him to death.
Barry and I worked together at MLB Network for a very short period of time. I couldn't believe how like great of a guy he was. Like just so down to earth.
Yeah.
So humble, so cool. I really, really enjoyed working with him. I didn't remember that he went to Michigan. I had no idea that you guys played them at all. Do you have any thoughts on the Michigan Jim Harbaugh thing and the sign stealing? Do you know anything about that? What's going on?
You know, I've heard about it. I don't know exactly what's going on, but the way I look at it, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So he got caught, just like the Astros. He got caught. Somebody got caught, but
he's
gone on for forever.
They're trying to steal signs. Who gives a fuck? Like the sign, dude. We had teams at 12U all the time trying to steal our signs. So you know what we do? We get smart about it. This last tournament, we actually used a walkie-talkie. We put an earpiece and biscuit connected to the walkie-talkie, and then our assistant coach is over there. John Donati caught 10 years in the minor leagues. He's over here going, fastball inside. And it was the greatest thing ever. Well, like they had no fucking clue. No one could rip our signs. Boom. I think it's probably another reason why we won the chipper.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. All right. So let's go with I have a feeling there's something here. I don't know what it is. You guys got to be tight. I just sense it because I know this guy. I'm not well, but I know this guy. I know a lot of guys that know this guy, and he's just a fucking dude, man. He's one of the real ones. Brett Saberhagen.
Oh, Jesus. Brett Saberhagen and I were in the same draft in 1982. Brett Saberhagen was the number 1 pick by Kansas City. I was the number 4 pick by Kansas City. And the pick before me, the number 3 pick, was Steve Balboni. And so, you know, they basically went out and got Saberhagen with the number 1 pick, and then 2 first basemen a little bit later. And just the way it was back then, they wouldn't pay for my college education. I told them at some point I was going to go to school, and they wouldn't pay for it. So I went to Mississippi State, and the rest is history. But that's how Brett and I are linked. I think I faced him in an All-Star game. I'm not 100%, but I know I didn't face him during the regular season at any time.
All right, there's a few more gems. You want one more, or you want to call it a night? All right. How about one of your teammates?
Bring it on.
Scott Gereltz.
Oh my God, Scotty G. He lives, believe it or not, he lives in northern Louisiana.
Really?
Yeah, Scott Gereltz. He was a closer, and then he became a starter under Roger Craig. And Scott Gereltz threw one of the best freaking snaps I've ever seen in my life. So we had the bullpen was getting chewed up for a week or so there, and so we needed somebody to go deep in the game, and it just so happened to be Scott's game, and he just didn't have it that day. Wound up giving up, I don't know, 10 or 11 in like 4 innings or something like that. And I remember Roger Craig coming in, and I literally was in the locker right next to Scott Gereltz. And Roger Craig came in and like patted him on the back, said, "You didn't have shit today." And he just kept right on walking, right? And Scott Gereltz just turned this freaking unbelievable beet red. He got up and he grabbed one of my bats out of my locker, and we had these big concrete columns. And well, first off, before he went to work on a concrete column, he stood up and we had these like rolly office chairs. He threw that through the freaking wall. All right. So now that son of a bitch is stuck in the wall, gets my bat, and then he goes we had these big concrete pillars in Candlestick, and he goes to town on this. I'm talking about there was freaking shit going everywhere. I mean, pieces of concrete, pieces of my bat. I mean, shit's just going everywhere. And he's just, and I mean, people are running for cover. And needless to say, I waited till Scott went home before I went back to my locker. All right. And then the next day I come in, I'm like, "Hey dude, you all right?" Then he goes, "Yeah." He says, "I just had to let it out." And I go, dude, the best snap I've ever seen in my life. I said, that was freaking unbelievable. He goes, yeah, sorry about it, my bad and all that sort of stuff. And I said, but do me a favor. He goes, what? I go, next time you throw a snap like that, I said, don't grab my XX World Series gamer bat. I said, grab my piece of shit bat. So,
Dude, that was what I was going to ask you.
oh yeah, no,
because you guys were swinging ash, and so it all had to do with the fucking grains of the ash bat. So you probably took your 7-grain bat and took it to pieces. Take the fucking 25-grain bat, motherfucker, then shatter that bitch.
Take the one that's got the tape around it or whatever. And then here's another one too. Mike Murphy couldn't get anybody in there to fix the wall and shit like that. So he comes up to me because I had a big freaking poster of Clint Eastwood. And he goes, hey, Thrill, can I borrow your poster? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. He goes, I'm going to cover up the hole. So now Scott had my Clint Eastwood picture above his locker covering up the hole from where he chunked the chair through there.
Oh, dude, what I'd give to be able to go back and play a game at Candlestick. And I know it's a shithole and everything else, but like it would be. And I got to go to the 49ers locker room, and I did the whole thing with Michael Zagaris, so I had that experience. I never got to play in Candlestick. It's 2000, which was your last year, was my first year, and that's when they moved into the new ballpark. Did you ever play in the new ballpark?
No. The only time I played in the new ballpark was when we did one of those alumni games. That was it. And I actually took batting practice and I went into McCovey Cove a few times.
Of course you did. I wouldn't expect anything different.
Chris Fire was chunking his batting practice and did a great job. And he just laid them in there. And I was able to say that I actually got one into the Cove, or a few of them into the Cove. Excuse me.
All right, Thrill. Well, look, man, I apologize about all the technical difficulties, the computer charge, the internet. It was double whammy tonight. I'm glad I was able to at least get on the phone and do this. You let me know whenever you're ready to roll next time, and I'll make sure I have a fully charged computer and good audio. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, I apologize for the audio. This literally is getting done off of my AirPods, but we figured it'd be better something than nothing.
Yeah. Well, we got to get the show going anyway. So, but so next week, it's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I'm gonna be at the ranch. I got horrendous service up there, so we're gonna bag it. But that Tuesday after Thanksgiving should be fine.
I love it. All right, Tuesday after Thanksgiving, we are back. Daily Hustle tomorrow. Again, Bet Online, your number one destination for all of your gambling needs. When in doubt, just fire away and keep firing. That's my advice to all the gamblers out there.
That's right. And for all you gamblers out there, your host with the most just pimped himself out. So go on the website or whatever you got to go on.
Yeah. Don't forget about the Steve, the Dad Water, the Grapefruit, and then the Gary. I don't know. There's something about Gary. I just like the name.
All right. There you go.
All right, Thrill.
Maybe because we got a Gary in the freaking chat room. Maybe that's why.
Oh, of course, Gary Overseen, man. He's always in the chat room.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna turn this.
So we're gonna have a lot of fun here next week. You
understand?
Huh?
It was a funny thing. I was talking to Joe today, and he's like, "Yeah, you and Thrill, you got all the awards coming out, this and that." And I go, "Bro," I said, "You want me to be totally honest?" I said, I really don't give a fuck about their awards. Like, if they're fine, they're cool, we'll talk about them. I said, for example, like tonight, I want to talk about the Giants and whatnot. I said, then you know what I want to do? I just want to rip baseball card packs. And I could do this all day, every day. Next week, we'll let people on. Battleborn, Luker. I mean, whoever else wants to come on. Bring your packs, bring your favorite cards and shit.
Yeah, no, and then here's another one too. I mean, and I was going to bring this up and it completely freaking, I guess you want to say got away from me, but we didn't even talk about the Rangers and Bochy and winning the World Series and Seager winning his second MVP. So we'll get that next time too. We'll knock all that crap out. But that'll be cool as shit next Tuesday a week and then do our thing.
All right, Thrill. Happy Thanksgiving, safe travels. Enjoy the ranch, and one last thing for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
See ya!